We've got a video. Prime Minister Trudeau tells reporters that he reiterated to President Trump yesterday, oh, good news, they finally talked, that Canada's border is secure and less than 1% of fentanyl enters the U.S. through Canada. How much fentanyl should the Americans tolerate, I guess is the question. Let's watch this clip.
I want to address what I know is top of mind for all Canadians. Yesterday, I spoke with President Trump, and I reiterated the facts. Our border is secure, and less than 1% of the illegal fentanyl entering the United States comes from Canada. Even so, we took action with our $1.3 billion plan to further strengthen our border. I also stressed that the tariffs the U.S. administration chose to impose will hurt American workers and businesses, and that, as our shared history has proven, we should work together instead to tackle today's challenges rather than fighting one another. Canada's ministers, officials, and I will continue to engage with our American counterparts. Our goal remains to get these tariffs, all tariffs, removed. In the meantime, we'll be taking action to support Canadians through the tough times ahead. You can count on leadership right across the country, municipalities, provinces, and indeed, your federal government. But mostly, you can continue to count on each other. Canadians have been there for each other, for small businesses, for local producers, for friends. Canadians will pull together and continue to pull together with deep, deep pride in country as all of us stand together to defend Canada.
Who is enough naive to actually believing any word that he's saying? Seriously,
Toronto.
since he's in power, the border is just broken. Like, not just for illegal immigration, for drugs, for weapons, for guns, for any kind of product that have been just dealing both sides of the border. It's because of him. He actually removed the Mexican visa, knowing
Yes.
and being brief that we might end up with cartel. And ta-da! We have cartel at our border.
Not only that, this guy's lying through his teeth. Okay, so they announced a $1.3 billion increase in border security, which is actually not all that much money in the grand scheme of things, back in December. We're in March now, and guess what? Prorogation means all legislative activity is suspended until March 24th. That includes the proposed new spending like the $1.3 billion in the federal government's border security plan. So he can talk about his border security, but he also put that on the shelf so that they could get Mark Carney in place. So all of this, 3 months now, 3 full months, none of that money has been spent. Nothing has happened with this plan because he prorogued Parliament to save his party. He burned down the country to warm his party's electoral chances. Think about how despicable that is. I cannot believe my fellow Canadians would even consider casting a vote for these absolute power-mad lunatics. Like, they have destroyed our country. They have destroyed our relationship with the Americans. They are lying to you through their teeth. I can't believe Canadians would reward that. I don't want to believe I live in a country where Canadians would reward that.
And for the Canadian who say, oh, but it will be replaced by Mark Carney, it's the same cabinet behind Mark Carney. So it's the same new face.
Freeland is going to be his finance minister. We know that. We know that. Like, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Nothing will change. By the way, drugs aren't a problem, according to Justin Trudeau. Just 1%. Here's this morning. If you do a scan of the news outside of the national level, you'll find stuff like this. Cops accidentally found $200,000 worth of meth pills just in the bushes in New Brunswick. They were found during an unrelated search for something else. They just found all these pills in the bush. So again, just 1%? How do we get that number when we have cops just stumbling across pills in the bush? It's way higher, and the Americans know it.
Because how can you put a percentage on something that you didn't even caught?
Exactly. They're not searching shipping containers. The gangs have infiltrated the port system. The provinces are taking on these duties on their own because the federal government has failed. Illegal migrants are freezing on their way into Canada, as is the case in southern Manitoba. So there's the problem. And I'm tired of the government gaslighting us into saying we've got it all under control. We know it's not under control. We can tell in our communities that we are infested by drugs and social decay. And if Trump's got a problem with fentanyl, by the way, he should be speaking directly to David Eby. I don't know why Alberta has to pay for the things that David Eby's doing. David Eby's giving out fentanyl, giving out safe supply. That safe supply is ending up in Alberta, killing our people. No doubt it's ending up on the streets of Seattle, killing people there too. David Eby's got a lot to answer for. And I think he is really, besides Justin Trudeau and the 9 years of running down Donald Trump as some sort of racist, fascist, anti-woman Nazi, David Eby should hold a lot of blame for what's happening in Canada right now. I mean, that province seems to be infested with gangs. Every time you turn around, they're busting a super lab there.
Like, this is a thing. If Mexico got a new deal, a new agreement that their tariff is lifted, and this is until April 2nd.
Yes.
Why then Canada cannot have?
Well, I'll tell you why. He says it right in this, if you read between the lines. Yeah. Sorry to cut you off, Alexa. He said, I have agreed that Mexico will not be required to pay tariffs on anything that falls under the USMCA agreement. This agreement is until April 2nd. I did this as an accommodation. Here's where we get why this is why Canada's not getting it. Out of respect for President Sheinbaum. Our relationship has been a very good one, and we are working hard together on the border, both in terms of stopping illegal aliens from entering the United States and likewise stopping fentanyl. Thank you, President Sheinbaum, for your hard work. He respects her. She has been willing to work with him. She has not run her mouth about him for 9 years, and she can show proof of work. We have a border czar. I forget his name. That tells you how much work he's been doing. What work has he been doing? Exactly. Even if he is working hard, he needs to show Canadians, but show the Americans too. We've got none of that. President Trump does not respect Justin Trudeau, does not respect Freeland, does not respect Carney, and that's why we're not getting a carve-out. I remember when I said Danielle Smith is going to escape the worst of this because Trump likes her. And that has remained true. Trump doesn't like Trudeau. That's what it comes down to. And here we are.
Yeah, but Canada is not transparent anyway for anything. Same like, I don't know if you remember, but when they actually caught the alleged terrorist that was going to do a terrorist act in U.S., if you were able to get the end on the U.S. release and the RCMP release, the U.S. release has 2 pages of information. RCMP, half a page.
Yeah, it's true. That's completely true. Let's go on to Donald Trump, I think, properly assessing the truth here. This is, I saw it as an X post, but he probably, well, it's Trump. He definitely put it on Truth Social. Believe it or not, despite the terrible job he's done for Canada, I think that Justin Trudeau is using the tariff problem, which he largely caused, in order to run a game for Prime Minister. So much fun to watch. You know what? I don't know if Justin Trudeau is going to run. Actually, I know he's not going to run again. But what's the difference when you elect Mark Carney? And I think it's true. If you take out the fine details there and look at the macro issue, yes, the Liberals are using the tariff issue to hang on to power, to make sure Mark Carney gets elected to be the prime minister of this country if and when they ever allow us to vote. And that's because the Liberals cannot campaign against Pierre Poilievre on their own record, so they have to campaign against Trump. I wish Trump were more aware of how much he's helping the Liberals in all of this, though.
But how much certification that we have that Justin Trudeau will not have any influence behind Mark Carney?
Oh, for sure. I think here's the thing. I don't think we need to know if Justin Trudeau is influencing Mark Carney behind the scenes, because Mark Carney was the guy influencing Justin Trudeau. And who influences Mark Carney? The United Nations and the World Economic Forum. So I guess they're just cutting out the middleman. They don't need the guy to whisper in Justin Trudeau's ear. They'll just have the guy who did the whispering do the talking this time.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, it's we know everything on Sunday. I think it's Sunday.
Yes, it is Sunday, and it's mostly online. I guess it's in Ottawa somewhere. If it's darn near impossible to find out where it is if you look on the Liberal Party's website, and I think there's a reason for that.
And when you are live like that, if you have any tip, reach out to us.
Yeah, let us know. We've got a video from Trudeau who says his government is working every day to get the U.S. tariffs dropped. No, Justin, you're not working. That's the problem I have in all of this. You prorogued Parliament. Nobody is working. Nobody.
Do you think they can be dropped? And then also when it comes to this announcement today, how important is it to you that these bigger programs that you've designed stay in place after you leave?
First of all, our priority is to continue to work very, very hard every day to get these tariffs to be dropped. There should be no tariffs between Canada and the United States, not just because we have a free trade agreement that says there should be no tariffs between us, but because it is good for the Canadian economy and the American economy. It is good for Americans and Canadians for us to be working together on big things, particularly in an uncertain world. So the goal is get these tariffs off. Now, the Americans are continuing to look at different steps, including the early April marker of larger commercial and trade reflections, not just with Canada, but with the world. And that is very much something that we are working towards as well. But our focus is on ending this trade war, and until we do, we will continue to stay strong for Canadians, and Canadians will continue to stay strong with each other.
He should reimburse his salary since he prorogued Parliament.
Yeah, he says we're working very hard, and we're doing everything we can, except actually going into work. They're not going to work. Again, this is the stuff that I can't even believe Canadians are falling for, but I guess some of them are. They are falling for the fact that they think the Liberals are working hard on this. They are falling for the fact that the Liberals say that they're working with the Americans. They're not. They're being nothing but antagonistic. And they're falling for the fact that, that Canada's not a drug and gang problem. We definitely are. And don't get me started on the exportation of terrorism into the northern states.
When you think of that, the private, like the photographer of Justin Trudeau has to release picture of him while he wasn't on the phone with the President Donald Trump to really show that was credible.
Yeah. He just like, Justin, pick up the phone. We need to stage a photo.
Oh, hi, it's Ezra Levant here in Toronto with an important message because we need your help. Independent journalism in Canada is under attack. Government censors, big tech deplatformers, and the dying legacy media are all working together to maintain exclusive control on the information you receive. They don't want you to hear other voices like ours, and they really don't want you to be informed and to think for yourself. That's why the work we do here at Rebel News is so important. Our on-the-ground reporting, independent news shows, and special content you won't find anywhere else. It's all designed to give you trustworthy information and alternative viewpoints so you can decide for yourself. We don't get government money, and we are not owned by some big global conglomerate. We're funded by people just like you, so please support independent journalism and help us continue our work by subscribing and becoming a Rebel News Plus member today, right here on the page. Go to rebelnewsplus.com.